plug in to make sure we have good connection. Could you double check on your phone again to see if we're live? How was the farmer's market or whatever you guys went to?
It was a farm show. It was good.
Oh. Is that the book?
Yeah.
Yep, we're live.
We're live? Okay. Hello everybody, I'm Brittany. Welcome to my channel. You know my sisters Ria and Sarah. Sorry we're a little late. She had a farm show she was going to. All right, Ria, since it was your nomination, why don't you go first?
Okay. At first, I was like, I liked the sound of the book, obviously, because that's why I nominated it and stuff. And then at the first few chapters, I almost had a hard time like engaging with it because I felt like it was coming to the end of the movie and like everything was resolved. So they kind of didn't quite draw you in right away. But then it kind of was like, okay, we'll just hold out for a little bit, and then it kind of picked up, and then you were more engaged. And I thought it was really weird that the fact that like they had offered Meg the chance to be a god, which is totally like different than pretty much what gods usually did. And so it was definitely a unique way of looking at it. And
Mm-hmm.
it was cool to see the backstory of Meg and more about what happened in her past, which everyone thought the guy knew that she sold her soul and like gave it up for him to be alive and okay, and he had a choice and he just walked away and whatnot. So it definitely changed it to him not being the bad guy anymore. And
Mm-hmm.
that was, I guess, better because you're like, what person does that? you know?
A horrible person?
Right? Like, well, but finding, like, I also seen from Meg getting so mad that he, like, moved on and stuff. I'm like, now looking at it from his point of view, he woke up from
And she was gone.
his sickness
Yeah.
and she was gone. I would have gone the route of, you abandoned me while I was dying, and,
Well, except for, I'm sure he probably went around asking his friends where Meg was, and they were like, oh, she was asking us for help and all of this stuff. So I guess if he did that, it would make sense that he'd be like, oh, she probably left to go get help.
I don't know.
I feel like this book was a lot sadder than I anticipated. Like, even at the very end, I was like, that is, like, so sad. It's just like, yeah.
Yeah. And I kept kind of getting annoyed a little bit with like Meg in general, and like everyone they like you do know what love is and like that stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know, it was just kind of annoying to me, that part.
But she was a lot like that in the movie, so it makes sense. I felt like there was a bit of a tension for me because it felt like the writer was trying to write Meg like she was in the movie, but she still had like that internal voice that didn't match for what she said or how she acted. I felt like so there was a little bit of a tension of trying to make the character seem like the same character, but yet have a little more depth. and it was almost like two different characters being shoved together, where you're like, well, she's the same person, but she's got a backstory now, so now, but it was still like,
Yeah.
I felt a little bit forced.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that part where I felt like her character flaw, the not trusting, the letting herself open to love again, I felt like was resolved in the movie. And so I was like, I feel like you're stretching it a bit, but I guess it would make sense that such deep rooted childhood trauma would not be so easy to throw off.
Right. I was confused at how I felt like her mom was instilling over the top independence and never relying on anyone, never trusting anyone but herself. And then, like, her saying, trust yourself. But then when she went and she was dead, I felt maybe it's when somebody dies, you kind of just forget all their faults and just miss them enough to want to be with them and whatever. Because I felt like, in a way, it changed the light in wanting her to appear to be like a better person or something. I mean, of course, they didn't touch much on it. I just got that feeling. I was like, you know what? Like, she was a horrible mother. Okay? I know you can still love your mom even though they're horrible, or she could be horrible, but I don't know. I feel like they tried to make her seem like a good mom at the end.
I felt like the majority of the book happened in the second half of the book. I agree with what you said, Maria. It took a long time to get going, and I was just like, I had the same thing where I had a really hard time concentrating and reading through the beginning because it was just so hard. And then once I got to the middle and the second half of the book, it flew by and I read it the rest of it all in one sitting. But the first part, it was just like so hard to get into.
Yeah.
And then the second part felt more like, I was like, okay, this is more of the Greek hero stories that I'm used to, like this is kind of more closer to the Rick Riordan type style that I like. And just like, you've got the battle scenes and you've got action going on and you've got these struggles and the good and the evil and who's good, who's evil, it's harder to tell. And then like Hades wasn't in the book near as much as I thought he was, considering he's on the front cover and then he's only in like 2 scenes. So that was weird to me.
Yeah. I thought it was weird how seeing Zeus in love was. It was just like
Zeus?
Or I mean not Zeus,
Hades?
Hades in love. That was just weird to me. It was just like, who are you?
I know.
Well, and it's based off of true story, or whatever. True mythology. It's in line with the mythology.
Yeah.
Right. I know. And I thought it was okay. Brittany and I have a hard time not talking a little bit, but so she was saying how with how did gods watch everyone? They know their internal thoughts. They know everything about them. They watch everyone, and they were watching Meg the entire time. And I was like, well, kind of. And she's like, what? And I'm like, well, because when Meg was in the underworld, they didn't know she was in the underworld. Just like they don't know Persephone is in the underworld.
Yeah.
So
because it's Hades' realm, they can't trespass on his realm.
Right.
They sort of know what's going on based off of like rumors and stuff, but it's just like how they were like, well, we'll know if we failed if Hera lets us out of the underworld. She has no control over what happens when they're in the underworld, but if she lets them out of the underworld, that's when they all of a sudden know whether or not they failed.
Right.
Because then they're back in her territory.
I thought it was weird how what's her name couldn't remember that she was married with a kid. I was like, is she just?
Oh, that was so weird.
I'm like, is that real or is it not? Like, are you just wanting to stay with your sister?
And he fought so hard. even when she found out, okay, I sort of believe you, but I'm not leaving. I'm like, you have a baby. You need to go. If someone comes along and says you have a baby, you get to go see them again, you're like, I'm going. But she felt so guilty about her sister dying that she's like, no, I have to stay here with her.
I didn't even think that made sense because she's like, I don't want my sister to be alone anymore. But I'm like, but you're okay with your child growing up without you? Like what?
It was weird.
How?
It was really weird.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm sorry, but what little respect like, I'm just like, I lost a little respect for her after that. I was just like, really?
And then Hades was like, yeah, that's not normal. Like, I don't care if they forget. I don't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't care enough to do that. So why was it how she died? Like she hit her head, so then she has amnesia. What was it?
Yeah, and they didn't really explain it. And Meg kind of said maybe this was a side effect of how she died, but it was still like
Wasn't resolved.
Yeah.
Unsure. She didn't even remember going to the underworld, so it kind of goes to show like the whole there was a bit of a disconnect or some sort of memory block.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't know how she got there.
Yeah. And then she didn't remember before that even. Yeah, and then it took a while. I guess it kind of could have been from the writing point of view. We need to show a little bit more of a struggle, and she can't just show up and be like, okay, let's go, and then they go. And, oh, let's pretend she doesn't remember. That will throw some
drama in the mix.
Right.
I thought it was weird how her mom and the sister ended up spending eternity together, like adopting each other in the underworld, like
right,
yeah,
in the afterlife. It was weird because it was like she needed someone to parent, and I'm like, but she wasn't a very good parent in real life or in her life.
That's where yeah I don't. Okay.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I also got kind of frustrated with Meg when she was irritated with Hercules for coming and helping her with the birds. I'm like,
right?
Really? You literally needed help.
Dying.
Yeah. I was like, poor Herc.
She's like, I had it handled. Like, your plan fell apart before he got there.
Yeah.
You were like sitting there like, I have no backup plan. And then he comes and helps. Even though you didn't ask him, he saved the day.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, well, am I supposed to thank you? Yes, you're supposed to thank him for saving your life again. Again.
Yeah.
I loved his reaction. He's like, wait, are you mad at me? And she's like, yes, I am. She's like, oh, Herc.
I know. I was like, I kind of was like, she, like the whole Shiro versus hero type thing going on, and I was just like, like there is a point where it is okay to ask for help. There is. Yes, be independent. Fine. That's good to a certain extent, but you know what? It is okay to ask for help.
Yeah, but I think it kind of fell in line with her character flaw that she had to overcome over the book. So, like, I was okay with it, kind of.
But even
then
it felt like she had already kind of confronted that.
Yeah.
When she was talking about how she's like, oh, I guess I could have called on him to help me with the, the vampire thing.
Yeah.
And she thinks that, but then the next time she's in trouble, she doesn't do that.
Right?
Yeah.
And she gets mad that he tries to help her anyway. I'm like, you literally were like, oh, maybe I should have asked for help. And then she's like, why are you helping me? Like, what?
Yeah.
2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I dislike drama for drama's sake. If the drama doesn't serve a purpose to either the plot or character development, just speaking as a writer,
I know.
I just don't like it. Well, maybe as a writer and as a reader, because there
I just
gets
hate
like
annoying people. It's like you're
yeah
being so extra right now. Can you just tone it down a bit, please? I
yeah
understand you're being the hero, but seriously,
yeah
Right.
you're being very like godlike with your ego going on.
yeah
I can do it myself.
I know. And then at the end, where they're like, she's gonna be a good god, or she was a good god because she actually can relate to the people more. So when they pray to her, she'll be more willing to help. And I'm just like,
I was like, no.
what?
yeah
Yeah, okay, you can
She
think
wasn't
that,
even a good human, really.
right?
Like, she didn't even care that she was bringing on a war with helping Hades because she's just, like, so apathetic where she doesn't even care. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
yeah
I know. I'm like, and you're gonna be a good god now because you've been through this struggle, and when you prayed for help, only Hades answered. I'm like, who?
maybe the reason why she was empathetic is because Hades literally took her soul, so she couldn't care. Just putting it
I
out
don't think
there.
that's it.
I
Because
don't
she
think it
still
is though.
cried and freaked out when her
Whatever his name
lover
is.
boy left her. But
Mm.
then she was like, okay, what do you need me to do? I don't even care anymore. So it was like, over it. Put me to
Right.
work.
Mm.
Like, I'm burning this whole earth down with me.
What do you want to do first?
Right. It was weird, like, how it kept showing her and Hercules going on dates and stuff. Like, while
Yeah.
she was bringing about the end of the world, and he was training to stop the end of the world, and they're like, let's have a picnic.
But
Let's go
wait,
sailing.
that didn't happen in the movie. The only date that I recall was like that night when she was supposed to try to, you know, figure out his
And then
weakness.
they had the "I Won't Say" song.
Yeah. Like that's like the only date they had in the movie.
Right. But it was weird, like, all that wait, there's more that they did. Okay.
I guess it
Sure,
could have
why
been
not?
part of the montage of time.
Yeah, I guess. All right. So shall we nominate books?
Who's going first?
I can go first.
Let me pull mine up.
You're falling on the screen.
Okay, go ahead. I gotta find mine.
All right. Mine is an ebook. It's called The Many Lives of Fitzwilliam Darcy by Bo North and
Okay.
Brooke West. It is a Pride and Prejudice variation. Probably because she has her sound on.
Oh, it wasn't doing it before.
Okay, here's the description. He could no longer claim to be Fitzwilliam Darcy of Derbyshire, brother to Georgiana, master of Pemberley. In that moment he was but a man filled with more frustration than most souls could bear, a man torn asunder by his desperation, his fruitless dreams and desires. After Elizabeth Bennet rejects his marriage proposal, Fitzwilliam Darcy finds himself in the most unusual of circumstances. At first believing the extraordinary turn of events has granted him an inexplicable boon, he is eager to put the humiliating proposal behind him, but soon discovers that he is trapped in the same waking dream with no end in sight and no possible escape. All that he holds dear, his name, his home, his love, remains ever out of reach. How will he find his way back to his normal life? Will one mistake haunt the rest of his days? It will take all of his fortitude to weather the storms of his strange new fate, and all of his courage to grasp the promise of his future. It's basically like Groundhog's Day, where he relives the day of his failed proposal over and over and over and over again. And the reviews are all great.
This
So, yeah, that's the one I'm nominating.
But we have to suggest.
Um,
Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to go next? Sarah, do you have yours?
I can.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. It's The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna. And let's see where is the description. Oh, here it is. Okay. Okay, Texas 1921, a time of abundance. The Great War is over. The bounty of the land is plentiful. And America is on the brink of a new and optimistic era. But for Elsa Wolcott, deemed too old to marry in a time when marriage is a woman's only option, the future seems bleak until the night she meets Rafe Martinel and decides to change the direction of her life. With her reputation in ruin, there's only one respectable choice: marriage to a man she barely knows. By 1934, the world has changed and millions are out of work, and drought has devastated the Great Plains. Farmers are fighting to keep their land and their livelihood as crops fail and water dries up and the earth cracks open. Dust storms roll relentlessly across the plains. Everything on the Martinell farm is dying, including Elsa's tenuous marriage. Each day is a desperate battle against nature and a fight to keep her children alive. In this uncertain and perilous time, Elsa, like many other of her neighbors, must make an amazing or agonizing choice: fight for their land she loves, or leave it behind and go west to California in search of a better life for her family. The Four Winds is a rich, sweeping novel that stunningly brings to life the Great Depression and the people who lived through it, the harsh realities that divided us as a nation, and enduring battles between the havens and or the haves and have-nots. A testament to hope, resilience, and the strength of the human spirit to survive adversity, The Four Winds is an inedible portrait, indelible portrait of America and the American dream, as seen through the eyes of one indomitable woman whose courage and sacrifice will come to define a generation. There you go.
For a second, I thought it was like in Civil War era. Did it say her reputation was what? Ruined? Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
went
don't
out
know. It
just
sounded like
before that, and then we heard ruined, and I was like, did I miss something?
it said she met a man, and then her reputation was in ruins, so she was forced to marry him. So it sounds like something happened, and they didn't do something they should, or they, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. You'd have to read it and find out what happened, but anyway.
That's what you're nominating? Yes. Okay, my book is called Flunked. Gilly wouldn't call herself wicked. Exactly. But when you have 5 little brothers and sisters and live in a run-down boot, you have to get creative to make ends meet. Gilly's a pretty good thief, if she does say so herself, until she gets caught. Gilly's sentenced to 3 months at Fairy Tale Reform School, where all the teachers are former super scary villains like the Big Bad Wolf, the Evil Queen, and Cinderella's wicked stepmother. Harsh, but when she meets fellow students Jax and Kayla, she learns there's more to school than its heroic mission. There's a battle brewing, and Gilly has to wonder, can a villain really change?
I started reading that a couple of years ago, um, and it definitely has an interesting premise. All right,
Who voted first last time?
I don't recall.
We gotta keep tabs on this.
Yeah.
We'll have a blurred. They voted, they voted, they voted, they voted.
All right, I'll go first.
Okay.
I vote for my book.
Do you now?
I do. I'm pulling a Maria.
Oh my gosh. I seriously have to pull up all the videos and count how many times I voted for my own. I'm pretty sure it was
No, last
even.
time, but you didn't. So
All right. Who wants to vote next?
Zoe. Zoe, which one do you vote for? Do you want Sarah's book, Brittany's book, or my book?
Don't put her in the middle. That's mean. Are you? Oh, you wanting on my bed? On my lap? She's like, I don't like this. Suckle by Brittany.
no pressure, Maria.
Sorry, Zoe. I didn't mean to pressure you.
You're so cute.
Here, could you take this? She's needing more room. There you go. Is that better, baby? All right, come on. Someone has to go next.
I guess I vote for Maria's book. Is it flunked?
Yep. And I think it's actually by the same author as the last book, Jen. Something.
Clonita.
I thought I was reading
Hold on.
it like her name
Yep, the
myself.
Fairy Tale Reformed School series. It
Yeah.
says in the back.
Oh,
Okay.
no wonder it came up in my recommended.
That's interesting.
Rose says she wants to live in the Cinderella castle, so I'm like, girl, same.
I'm sorry, but who wouldn't want that? I mean, how awesome would that be? Can you imagine the library?
There's no library. It's a very small castle.
Well, I'd put a library in it.
One in Disney World.
Yeah.
Sure.
Where the tourist shop is?
Yeah, take out all the tourists. Like, you are banished. Goodbye.
Okay.
There's like a suite in there, so.
Yeah. Super expensive, I bet.
Anyway.
Come on, Ash. Or Maria.
Maria, your book.
I vote for Brittany's.
Oh, I did not see that one coming.
I know, I saw your face. You're like, oh, she's totally gonna make her own again. Pulling a Maria. Except for
Reverse psychology, huh?
I was gonna say, did you vote for her just so you could say you didn't vote for your own? Like,
I actually am the one who told her about this book that she recommended or nominated.
Mm-hmm.
So, actually, it kind of was like my two books.
She had two horses in the race.
Right. In
Well,
turn,
when I bought my book, I also bought another book that's about Cruella, but I didn't think we should read two Disney books in a row. So I'm gonna nominate that next time. So, little spoiler there.
okay.
But yeah, I'm like, I don't want to read two in a row.
Please say it doesn't have anything to do with the new Cruella movie. Does it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it does.
I didn't even know about the new movie until after, like, it came up on my ads this week. And I was like, what is this? They're making a new movie.
It's got the same font for the name Cruella, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty much the same. So when I saw you bought that, I was like, oh.
No, it's supposed to be like her backstory when she is in fashion designer school.
That is what the movie is about.
So it's based off of the movie.
Well, there you go. I don't know.
I've seen some of the commercials, and I'm like, this is like borderline nudity because her clothes are very revealing.
I've seen the trailers and I don't know what you're talking about.
I thought it was very revealing.
Anyway,
so yeah, that is this week's book club. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Bye.
bye.
Wait, what book are we doing again?
The Many Lives of Fitzwilliam Darcy.
Okay.
All right, let's
Now I have to see if I can find it. I'm